Welcome back to the channel. My name is Jay Singh and today we are going to talk about Microsoft Excel, tables and the charts. In this video, I'll be showing you how to insert table, bar charts, pie charts, line charts, column charts, how to use them properly, how to change their color, font, styles, chart titles, data labels, legends, and of course our pivot table, charts and the slices as well, along with their formatting. So let's get started. So here in the sheet 2, we have data for a sales of product A, B, C in a north, south, east or west region in their specific categories for a month of January to June, right? So for the first, we have insert tables and then we're gonna make a chart for from that table and then when to use each chart type, right? So first we are going to do is select our range of the data that we have and insert table. Now make sure to have this option checked if you already have a header in your table, right? So let me show you. If I uncheck this one, the Excel will create a demo column 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 heading for me, right? But if I have this option checked, it will use the columns heading that I have as the heading for the table, right? So of course, once you have created your table, you have an option for header row, total row, of course, to use the sum, average, or the number of formulas that you want to use. For example, sum we have, right? Subtotal, and then we have a minimum, maximum, or we have a count numbers, how many rows we have used, right? And we have a count, average, of course, and none, right? So this is total, right? And then we have banded rows. Banded row is basically like giving you a formatting that you have a separate rows, right? So it tells you where the row finishes and where the next one starts. And we have first column bolded, last column bolded, right? Banded columns, same as the rows. And then of course the filter button. The filter button allows you to manually filter out some of the information. If you have a big series of the data, you can filter out some of the information for your ease, right? So the next one is how to create a pie chart, column chart, or a line chart, right? So what we are going to do is we are going to select the data that we are going to use for the chart. So let's say that I want to see the sale of each month for a product A. We can use do the month with the product B as well, or C, whichever you prefer. So let's do it for month A. Select that month and the product A sale column and go to your charts, and here you in your insert you have your chart section where you have multiple options to add the charts, right? So click on the recommend table and all charts, and here you have every single category Excel can offer for the charts. You have columns, right? As you can see, it's giving me a little preview of how my chart will look like, right? You have this multiple charts, even a 3D one as well. The same goes for the line, right? And we have a pie chart, a 3D chart, right? So a bar chart as well on a horizontal side, but not on a column. We have an area, we have a XY scatter, map, stock, and more. So let's do a 3D pie chart for now, right? Once we have your chart, let's enlarge it so you can easily see. Oops, let's move it here, right? So this is the product A sales in all the months, separated by different colors, right? But here in the chart, you cannot actually see what's the percentage of the sales, right? In which month, how much was the percentage, right? So if you go into the plus section, these are the chart elements. And here we have data legends, right? So you can actually see what was the total sale, right? You can always put it in a different layout where actually you want them, right? So let's do a data call out. As for the chart title, we have an option for above chart or centered overlay, right? Above chart means it's above the chart, like the a pie chart or the column chart, whatever we have, it's below it. Centered overlay means that it's gonna be overlapping our chart or whatever we have on the top. And then we have an option for legend. Legend is the small text that you see at the bottom naming the months January, February, March, April, May, June. And of course, you have an option for the right, top, left, or the bottom. So let's do the top first so you can actually see. As for the formatting, you can simply click on it and increase its size just the way you do it for a normal text, right? Same goes for the legend and same goes for your data cells, right? So these three are the chart elements that you have and you can manually customize it. Now let's talk about how to change the color, right? The thing is, sometimes some people don't prefer a specific color, right? Or it just doesn't match with the presentation or wherever you want to show the chart doesn't match with the theme. So simply click on it, right? And go to your brush. It's a chart styles, and here you have a multiple types, right? Where you actually want or how you actually want your chart to look like. Let's do this one, looks much better. And we also have an option for color. You can always choose a different color, right? Feel free to choose any one of them from here, right? So let's choose the color palette 4. So it's easily differentiable, right? So this is how you create your own pie charts or a column chart, right? Now, if by mistake you ended up clicking a wrong one, do not delete it. Simply click on it, go to chart design and change your chart type and choose the one you prefer the most, right? So let's take a look onto the clustered column. Once you click on it, it will change automatically for you, right? So this is how you change or customize the style of your charts, right? So this finishes our first two sections: insert table and then bar, pie, line, column charts, and when to use each chart, change color, font style, chart titles, labels, and legends. So this is finished in the last couple of minutes. Now let's move ahead to the pivot charts and the dashboards, right? So we're going to start with the pivot table and then we're going to turn it into a chart and then we will use slicers for interactivity, right? So as you can already see, we have the entire table here, but as you just witnessed that while making a normal chart, I was only able to select two of the columns for a specific chart. But what if I want to show all of the products in a different pie charts, right? Or maybe make it a dynamic one where you can just select the information and it will automatically show it for you. So for that, we use the pivot table. Pivot table gives you the option to actually make your charts dynamic, which means you will be able to select your entire series and actually use it to live change the data instead of just having a static one where you can just add the series and it will display for you and you cannot change it. If you have to make a new one. Pivot table allows you the stable flexibility that you can change it anytime. So for the pivot table, just select the entire table you have. You could be having, let's say, 100 products for all the months, right? And for different regions, or you can say different cities in a different categories. Could be 100,000 or maybe a million, right? Who knows? So select your entire series, click insert and pivot table. It's the first option, pivot table. Now you have an option here to select a range, which we already did, right? And here you actually, it's preferable to have in a new worksheet, but just for the video purpose, I'm just gonna do it in an existing worksheet, and I'm gonna use our location A11, right? As you can see, it's sheet 2 A11, right? Once I click OK, I have my pivot table here, right? Now on the right side, we have pivot table fields. Now, since I have selected all the columns, right? So entire series, all of the columns that with the headings is actually displayed here on the right side. Right. If in case for some people this section on the right side doesn't display, don't worry. Go to the pivot table analyze and click on the field list. Right. This actually shows and hide this option. Right. So for example, I want to see for a month of January of product A. Right. So for example, this pivot table is actually telling me in a month of January, we have a 1200 sales, February 1500, March 1800, April 1700, May 16, and June 2000 for a product A, which means in from January to June, we have a sale of 9800 for product A, right? So what if I want to see region wise, right? So click on the region, and as you can see, it actually puts a region inside it, right? So this actually tells me that in the month of January, the north region sold 1200 or whatever the product was, right? So this is how you actually change your pivot table settings, so it actually changes the way you want it to be. From a big vast series, you can easily select the options that you need and easily display it in a new worksheet as well, that only the specific information you want to see. So for example, I only want to see the month of January in a north region, right? So in a filter button, click on January, and as you can see, it's January only, right? Now you can choose a month or a region from here since it's in the same column. So let's say we all want to see in the south, but we don't have any in the south, so it's 0. Once I change the region to north, because we have in the north, it actually shows me a sale of 1200, right? So now how to create um, pie chart or any kind of chart from a pivot table, right? So since we have a dynamics feature available in a pivot chart, the in the table, sorry, the charts will also work in the same method. So once you change the data we have in a pivot table, the chart will change automatically as well. Let me show you. Let's clear out the filters, all of them, right? And we do it for the region as well. And here we go. We do not want region, but you only want month and product A. So since we already have a pivot table, what we can do is go to insert and click on the pivot chart. This actually gives you an option to choose the type of the chart that you actually want to show. So let's do a line chart this time, right? And let's do a double line so it actually can show you of two different products, right? So click OK. And as you can see, we have a product B as well. As you can see here in the line chart, um, as you can see the legend that the sum of product B sale is orange and the sum of product sale A sale is blue, which means that every month at the bottom we have the months. In a month of January, the product A sale was 1200 and the B was 1000. Oh, this is not correct. Right. Uh, so the reason it's not right is because let's add the data labels for all of the lines, and what we are going to do is we are going to do it as a product. Oh, sorry, apologies. Not the product, it's the type of the chart that we are using. We are actually using a stacked line, but instead we should be using a line, right? So they are not stacked, right? Here we go. So as you can see in the month of January, we have a 1200 for product A and it's with a blue line. As you can see, it's actually 1200 and followed by B on 1000, C on 900. B is orange on 1000 and 900 for the C. For the April, we have 1712 and 1050. For the April, we have 1050, 1200, and 1700. So this is how you can use your pivot chart or the pivot table as well to make your text or the data visualize in a dynamic way. But there's always a limitation that you have to manually select those options from the right side pivot table fields, right? But what if I tell you there's actually an option so that you can make it more dynamic, right? So that we call it the slicers. Slicers we use so we can actually have more control over our data. Let me show you how we use it. So we're gonna go into the analyze, insert slicer, and we're gonna do insert slicer for a month and ABC sales, and let's do it for the category as well, but let's just leave the category for now. Once you click OK, as you can see we have four of the small slices that we can actually use to filter the information out. We won't be needing any of the right side options that we saw before, the pivot chart fields, but we can actually do it right here from the slices. So for example, I want to check for January for all the products, right? But since it's a line chart, I won't be able to see anything. So let's do it for the February as well. And as you can see, it's actually just showing me the numbers. So let's do multi-option, January, February, and March. So as you keep selecting, it's gonna keep showing you. But let's take out the option for just January for only product A, right? So no filters, but only product A for, oh, sorry, they're all connected. So this sums up our pivot table, right? So this is how you can actually use the slicers. So you can just select the information in a multiple manner, whichever the way you prefer, right? And it will show the information for you, right? Right. So this resets everything, and then we can always choose a different design. Once you go into design, you can always choose a different design to show the same data that you have, right? You can go into 3D or you can go into the bar mode, whichever you prefer, right? So once you do in a bar mode, you can actually see the same thing with just in a bar method, right? So for the January, we have ABC, and then February ABC, March ABC, and so goes on, right? So this finishes our introduction to the pivot charts and the dashboards and the use of slices as well, right? So now it comes how to combine chart slices and the formatting and use conditional formatting to highlight the data, right? So we pretty much already covered how to combine the charts and the slices, right? Because the combination actually means selecting the information from the slicer to change the text or the data we have in the chart, right? We already covered this one. You just simply have to choose the data you want and it will change automatically, right? So as for the conditional formatting to highlight the data, what we can do is we can add a conditional formatting, right? So go to the conditional formatting here. What you can do is you can add highlight a cell, or if it's greater than a value, less than, between, equals to, or you can use a data bars to show some of the data, right? So for example, I choose the product A sale and click a formatting saying highlight the cell if the value is greater than, I would say, let's say 1500, right? So it will actually tell me that green, right? So these four options, they have a value higher than 1500, which means they are green, right? So you can actually show the whoever you are presenting to that these 4 months you have the highest sales, right? And January, February, they were just the lowest one, right? So also click on the conditional formatting and we have our data bars, right? Data bars we can use to actually show which month has the highest in the cell itself, right? And then we have color scales to show a different set saying if it's near to 1500 or some specific value, it's green or yellow. If it's lower than that, it's red, or it's higher, it's green. Same as we have in the regular day-to-day life, right? And then we have icon sets to actually show if it's the same or it went up or it went down. It's the arrows or the circles, indicators, whichever you prefer according to the charts you have, right? So this finishes our conditional formatting. I hope you guys like it. Please do press the like and subscribe button and follow for more. Thank you.